Decoding SEO success has been kind of like our series where we look under the hood of SEO examples in the wild. And I think Helene has taken it even further, not just looking at one company or one landing page, but literally researching thousands to find those that are doing best and figure out, what's working for them. We will talk today about why ranking your landing page matters so much, what exactly makes it so complex to optimize these pages, and we will discuss the four main takeaways from our research study. But most importantly, we're going to discuss all this by sharing successful examples and how they won, as well as the real voices of SaaS marketers. What puts us into the position to do this? We're a boutique agency for search marketing. We work first and foremost with SaaS and tech companies, and our latest claim to fame is that we won a couple of awards. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can check out on our website, presentations that we have given, and so excited for this one. And this is what we're aiming for, right? This is what we want. Someone types a very transactional, very high intent keyword into Google, and we want to be there. Pulled out deputy here as an example. And they're not ranking there with the homepage. They're not ranking there with a blog post. They're there with a sexy and attractive feature page. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Like, what are these type of pages? How do we make them rank? And how do we make them rank for these transactional keywords? Everyone wants their landing pages to rank. I think it's one of the top requests that we get from clients. We want our feature page rank, our product page to rank. Why are our competitors always on page one and we are not there? And it's very clear why that would be. If someone types employee scheduling software, they have a high level intent. So we call this transactional keywords or bottom of funnel keywords. But it basically means they're either in a kind of like consideration evaluation phase where they're looking at different providers. And if you ultimately want to be the one that they're purchasing, it's now the time, to kind of make sure that people know that you're around and that you're important. Or they might even be ready to buy, especially if it's a lower priced offer and maybe like a self-serve type of SaaS, they might be like straight up ready to make the purchase on the spot. So these people have very, very high intent. These pages are typically lower in traffic, but great in conversion rates and can give you that competitive advantage on search, making sure that you're part of the conversation when people are ready to buy. Additionally, people typically start looking at these pages for SEO when they notice that clicks on Google Ads are extremely expensive for these type of keywords. Could be easily $50 a click, 80, sometimes even in the low hundreds. And so getting extra exposure through an organic result also is important here. The challenge is these are also highly competitive terms, which means two things. You're competing against at least two types of competitors or websites here. Number one, especially for the SaaS startups here, is review sites, right? Pretty much any category in SaaS or tech startups that you type, there's G2, Trust Radius, Capterra already in the top positions. They have their hyper-optimized category pages. They have huge websites, and so they're taking up a lot of real estate, especially for the kind of like consideration evaluation phase where people are looking for a comparison. And the other thing might be that depending on what niche you're in, you might be competing against your SEO competitors who have been doing this a long, long time. If you're a content marketing tool and you want to go anywhere where HubSpot currently is, it's going to be hard. These guys have been at SEO and very aggressive with SEO for a long, long time. And last but least, the landing page is typically a page or a part of the website where we're dealing with a lot of stakeholders. This is not purely an SEO play. This it has a lot to do with product marketing, your positioning. What do we put on these pages? What do we want to go to market with? Typically, leadership has a lot more thoughts and inputs on these type of pages. So they're a harder type of page to get alignment on, yet the reward is massive. Final thought on this topic, why do landing pages matter so much? I think historically people think about marketing and especially about SEO as very much a top of funnel play, an awareness play. Think about your blog posts, your pillar pages, this type of stuff. And I think thankfully over the last few years, we hear terms like demand generation, revenue marketing needs to be accountable for revenue, etc. We're seeing that marketing initiatives and also initiatives for SEO are moving down the funnel, which is really where they belong. Marketing and especially SEO is a full funnel approach if you do it the right way. All that being said, if you don't want to take our word for it, I give you the first voice of a SaaS marketer to walk us through why are landing pages in SaaS so important, what are the challenges, and how to think about it.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and I'm a fractional CMO and leadership advisor with SaaS companies for over 13 years already to build up growth. Building up SaaS SEO landing pages is often part of our initiative, and I want to add some considerations outside of the mere SEO requirements. SaaS SEO feature and product pages are really important for SaaS growth as they target really our most valuable audience, and often also the most competitive terms. For example, product categories such as expense management software or CRM software. People who are searching these terms have already high product intent and are looking for a solution or details about your product. This has lots of revenue potential, so we need to tap into this. But product pages and feature pages can be also the hardest to create and to make successful between SEO requirements, product marketing, conversions, and more. That's where the real challenge lies, to bring that all together. Why? Because success of product landing pages is not just about good keyword research, meta tags, and good content. It's about knowing your user and knowing your product and what they need, and to bring it all together. If it's not done right, it can cause unnecessary iterations, frustration between teams if it's important perspectives or insights that have not been integrated, or simply fail to achieve the goal to capture the user as user experience wasn't considered. In my experience, these are some important considerations of creating successful product landing pages. First, is this really what the product does? How do users call it versus how do we call it in the company? It doesn't always need to be the same thing, and sometimes a keyword can be used even though we call it different. For example, maybe the company made a conscious decision to call the product category a certain way. Which way do we choose? Do we go for the SEO wording or do we follow the internal decision? The second important consideration is, what mental model does the user have in mind about the category or keyword and about features of this product? What do they need to see when they arrive on this page to make sense and understand that it contains everything they expect from the product? How do users cluster features in their mind is the question here. It can be product based. For example, do they need to see the sub elements as in the name of the features? For example, accounting versus VAT versus tax. Or does it need to be persona or use case based? For a good user experience, your landing page needs to include that mental model in order to capture users where they are. And this is not something that's decided internally because we think like that. It's something that the user decides. So third is, are we telling the right story? We could just use SEO copy, but do we really match user intent, which goes together with the previous point? For product pages, is it connected to what the user really needs, the story about the value the feature creates for the user? Does it speak to their pain points? Because if it's just a vague description of features, it's not going to work. It's bad user experience, not a good story. We need to also have enough depth. It shouldn't be too superficial, because on a feature or product page, people are coming already looking for a solution, a detailed solution and information more in depth. They want to see the product. They want to understand and believe that this is the right product for them. So make sure that you also build trust in the product on these pages through social proof, trust badges, testimonials, quotes. Then a couple of don'ts. So maybe it was clear already, but don't make it a marketing show. It needs to align with product, with sales, and you don't want to just have one perspective there, integrate it. Don't build a list of vague, superficial feature descriptions and thin content full of SEO and industry buzzwords, because it will not work. It will bounce.
Well, there we go. I think this is a good outlook from someone who comes in as, a fractional leader and deals with that a lot. Also, Juliana, we've worked with her several times. And so wanted to add that color there and really kind of like hone in, is that this is a very valuable page. And yet it's a very complex page to create. So we also want to give you some ammunition for when you're having these discussions internally. And I think you'll be excited that some of the SEO myths around word count and keyword stuffing are debunked after today. So Helene, I'll give it over to you. I think I'll give the screen over to you to walk us through the research study and the findings.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so let's dig into the research. What was it? Why did we do it? This has been a couple of years in the making. It all actually started, I guess, back in October 2021. Viola wrote an article for Ahrefs. So this should actually probably be the first, the first step, not the second. But I was interested. How can we use? Sorry. How can we use SEO? How can we use keywords to optimize these pages while noticing that brands that were doing this were taking a very different strategy when it came to execution while still getting those rankings on page one. So I wanted to build a swipe file of all of my favorite examples so that I can share with clients. I can share, to help when inspiring with briefs for these pages. And through that, I started to notice that, yeah, some of these typical SEO metrics and recommendations were not always followed. I'm coming from a research background in anthropology, very fascinated in mixing quantitative, qualitative data and getting in there and seeing what's going on. So back in 2022, I wrote an article for Search Engine Journal. There was about 30 pages, 30 URLs that we identified on page one with these non-branded keywords for their product pages. And we got some interesting insights, but we felt like the data set was too small. So we wanted to expand upon it so that we could say, hey, we think that, yes, we are challenging these myths, and there are different ways to think about creating these pages and strategizing. And so that inspired us then to try to find even more. We reviewed more than 1,000 different landing pages from every software imaginable. And we landed at 112 that we felt fit, the categories that we had set aside. If you're very interested in methodology, download our report. And a lot of the details are in there. So just to break down the basics of it, though, what we did is we took down those 112 SaaS landing pages, and then we categorized them. So we have content marketing and customer engagement, data management, HR software, and project management. So we have these different categories, and we were looking at the referring domains, we were looking at the keywords, the backlinks, the word count, kind of what was on the page. Was there a tool or was there not? We really wanted to understand, was the keyword used in the title? Was it used in the meta description? And examining these pages as well by breaking them down by their page type. So some of them were feature and product pages. And so when we're talking about these feature and product pages, the very simple, electrician software or accounting software would sometimes fall into this. Electrician software can also fall on industry page, depending on your company and where you are. But your solution pages, you're going to have those basic features, your product. Sorry, I think I'm saying things backwards. Yeah, your feature and your product pages are going to be the very basic, standard pages that everyone has of their different features of their product. The industry pages targeting those specific industries, of course, and solutions, trying to solve different cases, different business problems. Sometimes these might be use cases. Solution pages is a bit blurry. I will say this. A lot of people definitely cannot decide on if something is actually a solution page or a use case. So we're going to be a bit broad here. But I wanted to see between these categories, between these page types, was there anything interesting? Were there patterns? And we had 4 main takeaways that we wanted to talk about. The first one is what actually came out in the first initial study, and this is about the word count is a myth. This is one of my favorite bits, I think, that came out, because working in SEO, there is definitely this best practice push that you need over 1,000 words. I mean, usually it's 1,200 minimum, but it started going up to 2,000, 3,000. You know, if you're in travel, you better have a 10,000 word guide. It's getting out of control. And I think this was putting a lot of fear into product managers and to stakeholders when they're like, hey, can we optimize your product pages for SEO? And they're like, I do not want to see, 3,000 words on this page. Like, there's no way I'm going to approve that. The good news is you don't need it. In some cases, you might still, sadly, but in a lot of these cases, the range is quite big. The word count ranged from 116 to 3,522 words, and it drastically varied between the categories. So content marketing had the highest, customer engagement had the highest word count. These two were very, very high at their highest, but yet if you see the median in the middle here, that actually it's quite low. These are because of some outliers. So you're going to see the stuff at the top. Some outliers are going to pull that because that's the highest word count. But this median, this is what we want to look at. And right here you see it's pretty much at 1,000 and just under. That's not a lot of words. And I think that that's really valuable to understand that you don't need to pack in all of that content. It's not a blog post. You don't need to explain what is accounting software and try to squeeze those keywords in on that page. They know what it is. That's why they're there. Some examples that I really thought were clever and useful, hopefully for some of you. Calendly for the keyword team scheduler, and we also saw today scheduling software. They're ranked #1 for both of these. These are very, very specific, great feature keywords. This page is less than 200 words. Less than 200 words. That's nothing. I mean, I think a lot of worry around the resources that you need to create this content, paying the writers, paying them whether it's by word or by hours or how long that's taking. And knowing that if you know how to get right to the point and you know how to explain what it is and you're satisfying that user intent, you know exactly what these people need, you can do that in less than 200 words. You can be clever, but you can still use those keywords. So scheduling software, team scheduler, these are things that people are looking for who may not necessarily think, I want to use Calendly, but they're looking, I need a scheduling software. They're ready to buy a solution. That is, in my mind as an SEO, this is exciting. It's like, that's great. I love to see this. Even referring domains, only 26. I think that's quite low, and we're going to see some of them are very, very competitive. Keyword volume, high at 450 for team scheduler. And so this is a really great case of understanding your users, understanding what they want, and they don't need to do a lot of reading. They're ready. Show your product off, get them ready to start using it, familiarizing them with what is available inside the software. Copy AI, this is another fun one for AI email writer. Once again, less than 200 words. Definitely a lot more referring domains here at 96. This keyword exploded in the midst of this research. There's a 958% year-over-year increase. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe the page changed. Maybe they added more text. How did they adapt to that? Like, are they still there after looking at this over a year? They're in position 9. That's still page 1. I think that's really great. And to adapt to that, I'm showing here we have February 2023, and then at the top, February 2024. And I took a look at both of these pages, and they didn't really add or remove, a quantity of text. They updated the copy, they updated the design. It's almost the same kind of concept. You can see a very traditional marketing setup here. And yeah, so just refreshing, their brand, in this case, just allowed them to stay competitive and adjusting their text and their copy to their users. But this is a great case where you did not need to write thousands of words and get obsessed with squeezing in keywords. They're going to come naturally. So a recommendation is that user satisfaction is more important than tricking the algorithms. Keep your users at the heart of planning these pages. You want to reduce that friction. You want to answer their questions. Use the FAQs in a way that's adding value to your readers. Don't just try to use the frequently asked questions that you find on Google. People can find the answers without clicking through. Those are very generic. Everyone is writing them and using them. Try to find the actual questions from your sales team that people are asking when they are trying to get a demo or a call. What is the thing that they're hearing the most? Add that content in there. And naturally, you're going to get users that meet with your product. And I think this is really timely because of the algorithm update that we had that dropped yesterday. And so it's being very intentional and mindful, and being very careful about how you're going to implement, that content, especially if you are going to be implementing AI. We will generated content. We won't talk about that a lot today, but we definitely have a lot of stuff on that topic that we can chat about. Is there anything else you want to add on that section, Viola?
No, I love it. I think that's such a relief. I would say that's definitely like a common concern. It's like, does it have to be so long? And kind of like the friction, I suppose, between copy and conversion consideration and SEO. And I'm personally very excited that we're finally seeing shorter content on Google again. And we especially see it for landing pages.
Nice. Cool. We can dive into the hidden cost for link building and outreach. I think this was probably one of the most devastating finds, but there is hope at the end of the rainbow. We will find it. Authority and referring domains matter. Getting those referring domains to get on page one are not easy. They're not easy for a landing page. It's not your competitors, people in your industry, they're not really willing to link to your product pages. They're not going to link to your feature page. It's going to be very difficult. And our research that we've shown, the average cost per for backlink in 2024 ranges from $250 to $1,000. And so if we take breaking down the categories that we have on the left here, we have the minimum referring domains required to be on page one from our list, the median, and then the max. You can see some of these maxes are very, very high. And if you want to break down that cost per backlink, which is not just, I'm not saying you're buying a backlink, I'm saying this is the cost for, writing the content, doing the collaborations, getting guest posts. There's a lot of work that goes back there. And it can range from $13,000 to $113,000 per page. And I think that is terrifying, but it's also a very, very, very wide range. And we did find some areas where the number of referring domains is not as steep. And I think that these are where we can find opportunities. If you are new in the game, you have a fresh domain, you don't have a lot to work with, you don't have a lot of resources to create pages. So we'll share a little bit about that. One idea that we thought was really cool that some of the URLs that we identified that had the most referring domains is that they offered a free tool. People who are looking for a headline analyzer or a plagiarism checker, they just want something very simple. Grammarly headline analyzer, they knew exactly what users wanted and they gave it to them. You don't even need to scroll on the page. It's right there at the top. But if you do scroll down the page, they're offering some content, there's some SEO plays going on. And it also then is trying to lead the users into becoming a paid customer. So if you have a tool that is relatively simple, something that you can share like this is actually a really powerful way to get a lot of referring domains on a very important page that is a part of your product suite. So we thought this was fun. Something else we're going to talk a bit about as well is niching down to help you require less links. So the more you niche, getting down into those industries, getting down to the very specific problem solving, requires far less links to land on page 1. Happy Fox here, they have a solution for hospital help desk software. Very, very specific. They have referring domains, they have 1. The position, they're position 4 for healthcare help desk software. Keyword volume is 50, which isn't super low. It's not like beautiful, but I would say this is very specific, very high intent. Somebody who is searching this wants a very specific solution that speaks to them. Otherwise, they would just look for a help desk software. But because they're saying, no, I want a healthcare help desk software, they want a solution that's going to answer those things. And you can see on this page that they're really speaking to the medical field immediately. The little bits that they're putting here, the little features, they are speaking directly. It's not very generic, but it's speaking to their audience. And there's a lot of value in doing this. Another example of this is with Zoho. They have 0 referring domains on this page. This is great. For SaaS help desk, this is a keyword with a volume of 350, which is beautiful, very low keyword difficulty. I invite any of you to have fun with this keyword if you have a software for it. But good luck competing with Zoho. They're quite massive, but I think that they did some really nice, this is a long page. The word count is almost 2,000 words. So they definitely pushed an SEO, really beefing up the content on this page. But I think that going through these examples and looking at them and thinking, okay, how can I speak to my audience the way that they're doing that can be a really nice way to try to understand speaking to the audience rather than being very generic. So yeah, link building is part of SEO, unfortunately. Instead of traditional cold emailing or buying links for your brand, get creative. Try to get mentions, try to get listicles, try to get creative with the types of pages that you're creating. Try to build partnerships with people in your industry, influencers. You're going to have to get very creative. We have a really great article in our blog about link building strategies and some creative ways that we do it at Flow, if you're interested. But yeah, do you have any, I'll give a moment if Viola has anything or if there's any questions, because I can't find the chat.
Yeah, a good shot is like definitely if you have a question, comment, please pop them in the chat. I saw Batul that you're excited that what is content is getting removed from SaaS landing pages, as are we. And I think that with the link building is an interesting one because I think from a brand and product perspective, that's often a little bit forgotten. And I think the free tools is an interesting play because it's obviously like a product-led growth play potentially, but it's really a great way to get a lot of links in a pretty natural way. If you have a tool that's actually useful, you automatically gonna make it on all of these lists that are free X blah 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 tools. People automatically share you on socials, etc. And so additionally to this, I also think that the SEO tool Ahrefs, for example, has a lot of like free keyword explorer, free backlink checker. And whilst that is their PLG kind of like motion, I also think they very rightly recognize that when someone types backlink checker, they don't want a 2,000 word guide. They just want to check, their backlink profile. And so I think especially if you're at a lower price point and there's a feature that you could spin out of that, it's a heavy investment. It's a big strategy. It's not an easy decision, but it can give you a lot. And one of which is can give you a lot of real estate on search. So really, really love that playbook.
Yeah. Cool. All right, our third takeaway. We talked a bit about this, but I guess digging in a bit more, there's a lot of opportunities for these industry and solution pages. When we're looking at the required, referring domains, if we're looking at the featured product pages, the median is 109. So when we were thinking back to how much that cost, that's quite a lot. But if we're going to look at the industry or solution pages, where you see a median of 9 or 11, that is much more feasible. So if your budget recently got cut, you're working with less, but you need to like increase those conversions or something, I would say try to get an industry or solution page in there. Also looking at the word count for them. Industry and solution pages are here to help. The word count is not really that high. Once again, it's very similar to what we saw before with content marketing being very high. We're going to see the feature and product pages being very high word count. As we'll see up here, over the highest one was over 3,000 words, whereas the lowest ones that you saw, they were below 200 words. Those are the ones that we were looking at before. And then the median word count for industry pages is just under 1,000, whereas solution pages is just over 1,000. And so I think that this is promising. I think that there's not a lot of required, word count again, not a lot of required backlinks. And so thinking about this and thinking how you can be competitive is really going to give you an upper hand. I noticed with the feature and the feature and product keywords, they're very, very competitive. And they're so broad that if you are answering a very specific problem, if you're answering a very specific industry, that you're never going to make it on page one. Those are very generic, very, massive solutions that are going to be there, and it's not possible to compete with them. So being realistic, understanding what's required, and yeah, if your resources got cut, like a lot of people have in the last couple of years, this is a way to answer that. And a couple examples to show you in the wild, because I love examples. Tableau has this page for pharmaceutical analytics. This is so specific. I would have never thought about it in a million years, but pharmaceutical analytics is a keyword with a keyword volume of 100. That's great. This page is about 600 words, 4 referring domains. It's very, very highly specific. This is for pharmaceutical companies looking for an analytics solution. Tableau's, and it's a known name, so that helps. They're a big brand, but really niching that down, like I said before, speaking to that industry and solving those very specific problems, or it's going to be a way to help you carve a space where otherwise there's a lot of noise. Another one that we like, although I will say I'm so confused about this page. This must be the most bizarre landing page I've ever seen in my life. Is this Salesforce for banking CRM. And so at first it actually looks like a blog post, if you see right here, but it's not. I promise you, it is a solution page. It's in their industries. It is a product page. You can see there's pricing here. This is the table of contents for the page on the left. It's interesting, but a keyword volume of 700 is so high. They have 27 referring domains, and yeah, ranking number on the 3rd place for this. It's a banking CRM, once again, very, very specific. They wrote it very long. It is 1,700 words. I don't think that they probably need it to be that long. But yeah, I just like to see these very specific resources where they just, you could tell that they really did their research. They really know who they're talking to and how to, reduce that friction. So once again, create those industry pages to target your verticals. These long tail keywords have lower search competition. They can complement your feature pages. They're just a really great way to capture those non-branded transactional keywords for people who may not know who you are, but are ready to purchase a solution. Yeah, anything you want to add there?
No, I think what I want to add to this is I think this is a gold mine. I don't know why the industry pages are so neglected by most companies. This is an absolute gold mine. And I think it is because people get scared away because the search volume can be 50 or 20 or 70. That's totally fine. They're the right people. They're looking for what you have. We see this across different industries with our clients. Somehow the industry pages get neglected, which means this is your opportunity. Come in there, beef them up, make them better, grab these keywords. They're oddly not as competitive. And so, yeah, this is a call, get in there, basically. That's my recommendation.
Yep. Get in there before we do. And our final takeaway here, which we've been kind of harping on about the whole time, but meeting user and search intent is essential. It's also constantly changing. Probably in the next few months, you're going to see me posting a lot of things on LinkedIn showing kind of what happened, 6 months later, 1 year later. I'm already seeing some of these pages change completely. They're being redirected to other pages. And seeing that these strategies really, really shifted very quickly. Even for search intent, some of the keywords, the search intent has completely shifted in 1 year. And so really keeping on top of that, okay, you made a product page brief 6 months ago and it wasn't published yet. Maybe you should go back and take a little bit of a look, check the SERP, make sure that, there's still an opportunity to go there, because there is a lot of shifts going on right now in the search results. So we want to share, right? This is the next one. Yeah. Another example. This is from Anastasia. Do you have an intro here, Viola, or are we just play?
Yeah. Hey, Stacy, I know you're in the chat, so let's go.
Oh, no, hold up.
Yeah, somehow it's surprisingly difficult.
Stacy, I'm a senior digital marketing manager, currently working for a B2B SaaS startup, Beekeeper. And I've been working in the industry for about 7 years now, creating landing pages, different content strategies, and helping convert leads. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of landing pages for B2B SaaS startups and how to wow your prospects at every step of a buyer journey. So usually what I love to do when I need to create a landing page, doesn't matter if it's a feature page, an industry-based page, or a PPC landing page, I want to understand my content persona. I want to understand my pain points. I want to understand what I have to talk about and how to wow them. So I usually work very closely with our sales and account management, our BDRs, even our customer success people, because they know our customers. So what I love to create are battle cards. You can see them here, and usually, sorry about that. Cards are basically for you cheat sheets that can help you understand your persona, their pain points, their goals, the KPIs they're measured by, the core message you're trying to bring across with a landing page you are creating, but also what obstacles they have for buying, why to buy now, and how to wow them with your product. So in order to fill out this battle card, you really need to talk to your people who are very much working with prospects, customers, and know them, because they can help you understand the lingo they use. They know your prospects better than you, and they can help you, for example, also go a little bit deeper and build out a funnel strategy for landing pages based on their awareness stages. So helping you to understand what kind of pain points do your different kind of personas have at different stages, and what things are the things they're searching for, what are the topics they're looking for, what kind of content they need from you, and also what kind of search queries they might have at certain awareness stages. Creating a funnel strategy persona matrix will inform your whole keyword strategy and enable you to create highly converting landing pages for every step of your buyer's journey. So you'll be able to actually reach the right people at the right time with the right message.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I want to give a very quick shout out here, because I think what's great in both the perspective of Juliana in the beginning and in Stacy's perspective now is this idea is like, let's not work in a marketing silo. Let's talk to the people in sales. Let's talk to the people in success. Let's talk to the people in product. Let's figure out what's really going on. And as we've seen kind of like through the presentation, that really has been the key for success for a lot of these pages. So really love Stacy's framework here for structuring your thoughts and questions you're asking all of these other teams.
Yeah, I love this. I thought that was really clever. Thanks for sharing that, Stacy.
Hi, guys.
So all of this is kind of to say that your search strategy should be category specific. There's a lot of benchmarks going on out there, a lot of numbers that people are spouting. You should have this, you should have that. Be a bit mindful of it and be mindful of comparing yourself against others and understanding, if you are offering, cleaning company software for like job assignments, don't compare yourself to HubSpot. HubSpot's pages are going to be a lot longer. As we saw before, they're going to require a lot more referring domains. And yeah, so look to your competitors, see what they're already doing. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't bust your butt writing 3,000 words if it's not needed, but also be a bit more picky about those keywords. Content marketing is highly competitive. It's full of content marketers who love to create content. Like, good luck. It's like the Olympics of content there. So, so yeah, if you are in a specific category space, you understand where you are as a software company, look to your peers, and understand where they are also in their SEO journey, because it can be very different comparing yourself to a HubSpot if you are in your first year of SEO. So being very mindful of that. Don't just see these numbers and get scared and run away. SEO is here to help, not really to hinder. And I wanted to share an actual example. I guess this is kind of where it all started, from a client of ours, Auroflow. They're a job management company. They had a very complex site with a very small target audience. So based in Australia, they work with trade workers in Australia and New Zealand. Think, plumbing, electricians, HVAC, in this space. And you can see in this chart here how many of their organic pages they had, and that, we said no, these are going away. What happened was that they had all these language pages. So they had language variations for English. So there was like English Australia or English New Zealand. They had lots of these. So cut these pages, cleaned up the site, tightened it up, and created one URL for each of these industries. And we just started obsessing over them. We started obsessing over optimizing them for these transactional keywords, no matter how tiny they were. I mean, plumbing software, we're ranked #1 here. It has a volume of 30, but as Viola mentioned, it doesn't matter. If that is the target audience that you're serving and that's how many there are, then yeah, that's it. But that is very high intent, very specific. You're meeting that user intent, you're meeting, your audience exactly where they are. Another thing I want to point out is how long this took. So we can see in June, mid 2022, we culled those pages, and then we started optimizing. We started optimizing for about a year until things started to take off. And so it's just like any other SEO, even though you may need, 200 words, or pop a free tool on there, it still takes time. But I have seen this through some of our clients. I've seen it across other software companies that I've been watching for years, and I can see it being a very valuable strategy. And thankfully, James, he is the SEO content lead at Auroflow. He shared a little bit talking about using these very specific long tail keywords. So I'll let him share some thoughts with you all.
Using long tail keywords has been a huge source of success for our SEO program, and we've been able to target user specific intent like never before after opting to focus on long tails as a core component of our ongoing SEO strategy. That success has come with the need for constant research and refinement though, and for a small SEO team like mine, it wasn't easy bringing new long tail keywords in while also moving the ineffective ones out. We really had to leverage our agency here, and we've realized as we've gone on that you can't just throw together a long tail keyword set, bake it into some content and expect results, because the more highly targeted your keywords are, the more specific the search intent required to hit them becomes. With that being said though, after going through the process of setting up a long tail keyword set, refining it, doing the research, using agency input to refine it further, I can say that it's 100% worth it. And I highly recommend a long tail keyword strategy to anyone who wants to invest in the future of their SEO portfolio. Google's helpful content update has already proven that target user intent, it's here to stay. And the more long tail keywords you have in your portfolio now, the better your chance of picking up traffic based on detailed search queries in the future. It's just a good investment.
Thank you, James. He's not here.
Missing long tail keywords.
Australia time zone, you know.
Has missing long tail
How do we
keywords.
get out of it then? It always does this. There we go. Sorry. So yeah, websites that understand their customers' needs will continue to be rewarded. We're going to keep having more and more updates. Google will be looking at the quality of our content. They're definitely looking at that right now. Users needs vary based on the product, the price point. So as Viola was mentioning, thinking about, what is your go-to-market motion? What is your audience? If you're targeting SMBs, it's very different than enterprise. An enterprise would want, discussions about data compliance, or if they have certain ISO standards or different risk assessments and data governance. And these things are really, really important. There's a lot of legal things that go on behind that, versus if you're using something that's more, small business, like a Grammarly, something that you could just pop a tool there and it's for everyone to use. So really understanding that buying cycle, how complex is it? How big is that purchase? How long is that going to take? And then have that help inform, also along with the user's needs and search intent, to create those pages. Yeah, do you have anything to add there?
No, I think it's exactly right. It's on the point and this is in general, well, marketing advice is so hard because you're reading a strategy and someone was successful with that for a product-led growth motion at a price point of $20 5 years ago, and I believe them. I mean, they did it. It worked for them. I'm not doubting that for a second. I'm just saying we need to double check for your circumstances and your audience and your product if it's going to work in the same way. And so that's kind of like the point that we want to drive home here. And I think on the next slide, we have that kind of like little paragraph out of the Google guidelines, which is this idea is like focus on people first content. And then do you have an existing or intended audience for your business or site that would find this content useful if they came directly to you? And so, of course, Google is like constantly refining what they consider helpful, and it's not always working as intended. And there's a lot of like unhelpful garbage on the top of Google, and it happens, and it breaks my heart. But that being said, that this is Google where it's heading. And if you do want to future-proof your SEO and search strategy, and even more important, if you don't just want traffic, if you actually want to get remembered and have conversion, then this idea of people first content is crucial. And the higher your price point and the more complex the decision is, the more important this is.
Agreed, definitely. So yeah, that's kind of a lot of examples and things that I kind of found doing this research and kind of challenged my beliefs about SEO and gave me a lot of tools to now put in my arsenal and harass all of my clients and say, hey, can we do this? But I would love to hear from you guys. If you had experience doing this, was it good? Was it bad? Did it work? Did it not? Yeah, I'm very curious to hear.
Yeah, if you want to ask a question, there's a few major options. Option number one, post a question into the chat. We'll give you some time to type this out and figure out what's happening. Option two, if you're feeling very adventurous and courageous today, you can, pop on your camera and mic, say hello, and let us know what you're thinking about. Either way, we appreciate it. And then, all right. So Jessica has a great question that I love, which is, any thoughts on creating downloadable assets such as template or checklist to drive backlinks?
I actually think that if you're going to do this, it shouldn't be gated. If it's gated, you're probably not going to get a backlink. But if you are just giving a template without it being gated, I think, yes, people will then say, hey, here's this free template. You're going to get listed. Don't know if you have different experiences.
I love that. I think that's awesome feedback. It's generally very hard to share something for a backlink that has an opt-in. It needs to be very, very compelling for that. But I think this idea of making it ungated and specifically wanting to be shared on socials, wanting to be in all these like free tools, listicles, I think that's a very good way forward. But who will ask, which I also think is a great question,